Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. I'm filming an intro to this week's video while I'm editing it because the video hasn't turned out like I wanted. I hope to be able to do a road test on the Thunderbird, take it for a drive, do a bit of filming, but that hasn't been possible. And today's video will show you some of the things I've done and how I haven't really achieved what I wanted to do. But the choice between not having a video at all or showing you the things that can happen, what's the choice? I'll show you the things that have happened. So watch the video, and although the video will show me driving the car on the road, the car was driving very, very badly and I had to abandon the road test and come back, Also, I think the lens on the camera was dirty, so it's a very poor quality image. So it's not what I wanted. This isn't the video I wanted to put out, but frankly, it's all I've got. So it's this or nothing. Okay, so, come and have a look at the video and see what you think. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. Here's my carburettor on my Thunderbird. This is a Holly carb. Let me see if I can see. Yeah, here we go. ECZV list 1273. Okay. Don't quite know what that means, but that's what it is. In other words, it's the original proper carb for the car, numbers matching. The only thing is, the float bowls aren't from this carb. I had a great deal of trouble getting it to run, and I took off the original float bowls and I fitted these. These came on another carb, like a spares carb, but I think it was a more modern carb. Not by much, but a little bit. There should be a fuel pipe from there to feed the secondaries, but it's been taken off and it's been plugged with a little clevis pin there, held in with a piece of wire. So there's a pin in there with a O-ring around it, so that limits it to this side. That's why it's got a piece of rag stuffed in there. Here is one of the original float bowls, and this is as I would have last tried to run it. Now if you look there, can you see that the arrangement is different there? It hasn't got the external float level adjustment, which is probably why I fitted these float bowls, because this is so much easier. And there's setting procedures for these floats. There's also a little plug there, look. In other words, there's a float bowl level check plug, but it's a little bit different than the later ones. The only problem with these was that I got the opinion that they were a bit warped, although I can't really see too much evidence of that now. Here's the primary side fuel bowl, and again you'll see that it doesn't have that feature there. But what you can also see is that the fuel inlet is higher on this than it is there, purely because of the way that the float thing is configured. And again, I can't remember, but I got the impression that these are a bit warped. There might be, but I'm just not sure now. Bear in mind, it was over 30 years ago when I tried to use these. The other slight, not a complication, but something that I've got to take into account is, one of the guys that watched my video when I did the start said he's got a carburettor off a 312. If it's exactly the same, it might be useful to try and use parts from that. So that's something that I could do. What I could try and do is just reconnect the thing there and see what happens. Now, I didn't know this and I couldn't remember this from before, but what I have just noticed is you have the fuel levels slightly different on the primary and the secondary. This is the fuel level on the primary, and that's the fuel level on the secondary. And you can see this one's lower than that. Now, on the original type, there's only a 1/16 of an inch difference between the setting of the float for the two different fuel levels. Hang on a minute, let me have a look at this. Right, the primary is on the right and the secondary is on the left, and you can see the difference there as well. Okay, I do get the impression though that hole there might be slightly higher than that hole there. In other words, that float level would be slightly too low. Let me do some measurements. Just trying to get a judgment of how far down that bottom edge is on this one. So let's say that that's about level with the bottom of that hole. I'm just looking for an indication at the moment. Hang on. Well, that's the same thing, but it looks like this one is getting on for like, just very rough measurement, getting on for 6 millimeters higher, which is almost a quarter of an inch. This is all ringing a vague bell, which might be why I struggle to get this one to work, because the float level needs to be quarter of an inch higher than this is set up to do. And there might be a difference on this one as well. Let me see if I can do the same thing on this one. That's a close enough indication as level with the bottom there, sort of. And it looks like that's about 4 millimeter higher. What I think I might do is take off that float bowl and put the one float bowl on, the one old float bowl on, and try and get it running just like it is now, but with the correct float bowl, and see if I have any problems doing that. Just see what happens, and then if I do okay doing that, I can try and do it the same for the other float bowl. Somewhere I've got a carb kit for a 4-barrel, so it might be worth my time to see if I can find that before I do anything. I'm just kind of muddling my way through beginning the job. I might start by draining that and then trying to see if I can hook that fuel line up to the old thing and just see if it leaks. Let's just give that a go. Back in a bit. Having cracked it loose, it's easier to use an open ender. Get the old vintage Herb brand out on it. Well, I caught some of it. I had to give it a knock with a mallet. I just knocked against that with a mallet. Ooh, tripping it. That was pretty well stuck on there, as if I'd put a fair bit of you know, sealant or something on it. Okay, well there's my, I mean, in theory this could just go back on. I'm trying to work out what's going on here. This float bowl doesn't feel like it wants to mate against this very cleanly. This is the one that came off the car. What I notice here is that that's got a little projection on it. There. And here, there isn't, the gasket's broke. Here, there isn't a corresponding thing. But this one has a little cutaway there. I wonder if this one is the one that's supposed to match this, because without a gasket they fit together. Well, they do, but they don't. Can you see that that's rocking? Something's warped. I wonder if this is actually the original plate that's supposed to be on that carb, and this is supposed to work with this. I'm guessing this is early and this is late, because this has got a lot of things to support the gasket, all these pegs, which I think were probably like a later addition to help locate the gasket. So I'm thinking this is late. I might take the other side off and have a look at that plate there. You'll notice that this one does have a plate here. They kind of cheapified them a bit, and they bolt this piece directly onto there on later ones. But this has a metering block there that you can put jets into. Yeah, that proves it. That one that I've just took off, this one, matches that, which could be similar or the same, but it hasn't got all those lumps and bobbles on it to locate the gasket. So it might be that I'll do better to give this a clean, fit the jets and the power valve, and try and use this. Hang on, this has got a power valve on the secondary side as well. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Let me have a think about it then, and I'll decide what I'm going to do. Obviously I'm going to reuse this piece because this is the secondary side, because it hasn't got any idle screws there, look. And then this is the original one. This is a later one. So I want to reinstate this. So I'll swap these pieces from here onto there. Alright, I'll leave it at that then, because I can see kind of a way forward. I could do with finding that gasket set, otherwise I might have to order a gasket set. Okay, righto, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then, bye. Hello, I've been working on the Thunderbird on the carb, and I might have to hold off a little bit because I've ordered some parts and it's going to take a while for those to come in. Also, a gentleman called Don is going to get a carb to me. So because I didn't want to do nothing, I've been assembling up my primary float bowl, the old one. I put the fuel inlet in, and there's a filter inside. I put my little blanking pin in, and that's got an O-ring around it. I've put the fuel baffle in with a little O-ring, but I'm just looking at that O-ring. It looks a little bit beyond its best, so I'll see if I can find another one of those. And I've just been using a gauge, this sorry remnants of a gauge, and I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. It says 13/16 there on that corner, upside down. The idea is that that goes like that. From the bottom face to there is 13/16, and this tab sets the distance from the edge, and those go straight across. And it is a tiny bit tight, so I might just bend the little tab a tiny bit to try and raise the float. So I'll take the float out, bend the tab, see if I can find a better O-ring and put it back together again. Okay, back in a little bit. Okay, I've had a go at setting it. I had to go 2 or 3 iterations back and forth, but that is sort of okay now. There's the distance from the wall, that's just on it. So I'll put the little clip on there, and hopefully that is done. So I just need to put the power valve and the jets into there and find some gaskets. What I also meant to say was I've also ordered some carb gasket sets from Rock Auto, so they've got to come from America, so they'll take a while. So I thought I'll just try and do a preliminary one to try and get it running again, at least on the primaries, and then see where that takes me. And then I've got another carb and a gasket set which I can use if need be. I've got options is what I'm trying to say. So let's just see where this goes, but I don't want to leave it sitting idle for all that time waiting for everything to come in. I don't know why. I've done my best to clean these, but they're very hard to clean, to be honest. Obviously didn't try hard enough. Yeah, so I'll put that clip on there and we'll call it good. Hello. Okay, I've taken those jets and put them in. The primaries are 55s, the secondaries are 48s. I've took the gasket that was in that new set and just laid it in there, and I've just filed that very gently there to clear that edge of that thing, that baffle. I tried to file that bit there to clear that pin a little bit, but I thought no, it's going to weaken it too much. I might just put a bit of grease on that just to hold it in place, because on the new ones you have it in place on there, you see, but on this one there's nothing to hold it in place. That is an important thing there. So I'll try and set this in place on here. I might try and actually nestle this in place with it at this angle like this, so it's got gravity helping it. Then I'll try and put it on in one go. I've just had a look at this. That gasket still feels relatively, you know, kind of flexible. So I think I'll just try and offer it straight on and fit it. Okay, I've got that kind of in one piece. I've got 4 bolts that I've cleaned and put a little bit of grease on everything. I think that needs setting there, that piece there needs bending because that's too big, that gap. Well, it just about stays in place, doesn't it? I've got to do a bit of assembly to get the secondary side back together again. So I'll go and do that off camera and I'll bring you back when there's more show. And I've got to put the idle screws in as well. I mustn't forget those. Okay, back in a bit then. Shall we see if it'll start then? Is there any reason why it shouldn't start? Can't think of any. I wonder if it could do with just a dribble to get it fired up to save too much cranking. Yeah, I've got a little bit of fuel there actually. I might just tip this little bit down there I drained out the float bowl. Well, you'd have to say that runs nowhere near as good as it did before. What's going on here? Okay. Yeah, it's dripping. This might be why I used the other float bowl. Whoever had the idea to put like vertical joint faces on a carburettor? I don't know. Do you think that's a good idea? I just see gobs of fuel coming out of it. Coming out by the accelerator pump. right, does it? So why is it massively rich? Oh, I think it might be coming out of the side hole. Hang on. Right, I've gone one full turn in. Yeah, it's pouring out the side there. Pouring out the side, look, can you see? That means it's too high, doesn't it, the level? Might be the float's no good, I don't know. Hasn't been used for years. Yeah, okay, so let's have a think. Maybe the float's no good. But you can sort of see the problems I was having when I was first trying to get it running. Leaks, drips, just not running right. When I pumped the pedal, I saw petrol squirt out of the accelerator pump. So I'll have to just take it apart, won't I, and have a look, see if I can see a problem. And I think this is why I eliminated the secondaries to just try and get the primaries working, always with an intention of reintroducing the secondaries. But you can see the problems I've got here. It's just no good, is it? Did you see that squirt out then? Okay. It's no good, it's dangerous, isn't it? I'll have a little break, go and have a cup of tea and a piece of cake, and I'll dismantle it again. But it might be that I do better to wait until I get the other carb and just see if those parts are better than these. I just don't know. Okay. Well, at least it did run, although not very well. I can't remember when, in what time scale, I switched the float bowls to the later type. Okay, righto. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Cheers then. Bye. Hello, welcome to Mart's garage. This is my rather forlorn looking Thunderbird engine. Had it running yesterday using the original float bowl and metering plate. It didn't run very well. It was flooding like mad. It was leaking. I don't know where it was leaking from, but it was certainly coming out the plug at the side, on that side there. So probably the float is either no good or the needle valve is no good. So let's take the float bowl off and have a look, see what's going on. These gaskets arrived today, so at least I have some new gaskets. I've got 2 sets of these. Okay. If I turn it that way up and blow down there, I can't blow through it, and if I turn it that way up and blow down there, I can blow through it. I just don't know. But it was leaking out of here as well, wasn't it? I'll take this off. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'll take the float out. I'll check the float that it's not got fuel in it. I'll take the needle thing off, clean it and reassemble it. I've ordered some carb kits, some more carb kits that might come a bit quicker, but I do think I need to just keep tinkering with it, hopefully just to get it working. Okay, back in a bit. This is the thing from that I was running, the accelerator pump diaphragm. This is the one that was in this kit, and I've just trimmed the corners off because it's slightly different than the modern ones. So I'm going to try and refit this just on there like that. Put the screws in. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. I just took this out and I can see something in the end of it there. I can't see it now, hang on. Can you see it sticking out? A little bit of black stuff. I managed to push it out of there, and it's a piece of O-ring. So that might have been stopping this needle from seating. I'll go and blow it all out with an airline and put it all back in again. So that's all been fitted. All this has all been fitted back in. I got that, found that bit of O-ring in there. I've checked that the O-ring that I've put in there is okay, which it is. And I've fitted one of these new, well, I've actually fitted 2 gaskets there, just to try and get it to seal. Might be a bad idea, but I do remember seeing in Street Rodder or something years ago to, you know, a fix by using 2 gaskets. So I'm going to give that a go. No, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not. I'll tell you what. Let's just go with one. Let's just go with one, but it's a new one. Another new one. That other one was new, but this one's also new. Okay, so I'll give it a go with this. Okay, so we'll give this a try. I'll try giving it a couple of pumps then. Hang on, let's see if it... Oh, good squirt there, okay. No leaks down by the accelerator pump, so that's good. Well, that's had a little squirt there, so let's see if it'll crank. Oh, yeah, a bit of a fire there. Little bit of fuel coming out, so that's actually probably okay, isn't it? Tiny little bit of fuel coming out, but that's probably good because that's only with the shaking of the engine, so I think that fuel level's about right. that's actually running okay, isn't it? It's nice to have that original type float bowl on there. I've got more work to do, but that's... oh. What's it doing now? Don't seem quite right, does it? I think it might, well, you might think, I don't know what to think, to be honest. I haven't got all the answers. I'm wondering if just a gentle drive round would help. I might turn the mixture screws in just a little bit. Hang on. Oh no. It hasn't run out of fuel. So why doesn't it want to rev? The other thing to consider is that it has old fuel in it. The fuel's probably at least a couple of years old, possibly more. So yeah, so I think a gentle drive down to the fuel station might be a good idea. Put some fuel in it. Does that sound like a good idea? I think so. Okay, I'll get ready to do that then, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Okay, here we go. First time out on the road in at least a couple of years. And I'm running on the original fuel bowl. It feels a bit, it doesn't feel 100%. Let's go and get some fresh fuel in it. Misfiring quite badly, to be honest. The car seems a bit less rattly than it was. I wonder if the doors, because I've done the doors, I wonder if they're better now. Yeah, it does feel better actually from that point of view. The engine doesn't feel very good though. Oh god, I've clumped. Just okay, misfiring. Surging. See if we can find a sweet spot where he wants to drive along. I think I'll just go around the block rather than try and get fuel. I don't know if you can hear it, but the car, yeah, it's really misfiring badly. Which you didn't used to do. So I'll have a look, see if it's flooding again. checked all the tyres. I've checked the water, I've checked the oil. Brakes are alright. What was that? I don't know if that was a misfire then. What I think I'll do, I'll go and get some fuel in a can. What's this lorry doing? Okay, I'll see you back at the house in a minute. It's definitely misfiring, isn't it? Well, it's actually running and it's not gushing fuel out, so I don't know why it's running badly. There's a little bit of fuel in that area there. Yeah, I just don't know. It don't seem to make much difference doing that. Just don't know, to be honest. Okay, well, I've driven it on the road. I went round the block. I got back. Oh! I mean, why has it just done that? Why did it just do that? Let's see if it'll go. I'm wondering if the points need setting, because I haven't been looked at for ages. There's a little bit of fuel here or something. It might be that it fouled the plugs when it was running in that very rough condition. Maybe I ought to take the plugs out and have a look at those. But at least it's running. Well, that's all the way in and that's still running, so that ain't right, is it? That one's all the way in as well. Not at the same time though. Bear in mind there's no fuel at all to that side. That's alright, it's not flooding. Just there, isn't it? Okay. Righto. I finished messing about for today, so I'll leave it at that, I think. I'll catch you again when I do a bit more. Cheers then. Bye. Okay, so there you go, that's what happened. I have a lot more video to edit because that end of that video isn't the current status, so I have more video to edit, and hopefully, although I haven't done it yet, proper drive out on the road, a proper drive with it running nice. So thank you very much for joining me in the garage. Take care of yourselves and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then, bye.